Whoa, the stars are so cool. Do you think they're made up of fireflies or something?
Well, actually, stars are made up of two gases. They're hydrogen and helium, and actually, they're some of the lightest gases out there. Along with those, there are bits of carbon, oxygen, iron, nitrogen, and many other elements too. Oh, right, and don't forget the space dust.
Ooh, space dust. I don't get it though. How do all of those different materials become a big shiny star?
These materials are usually really, really, really cold. So when energy from different areas comes and hits it, it starts getting hotter, hotter, and hotter. It turns into a vortex and starts sucking in more materials one by one. Once gravity's pressure comes into play, it condenses and smooshes all of these materials into a big, beautiful, glowing star.
So it's kind of like crushing Play-Doh?
Yeah. There are so many types of stars too, from main sequence stars to white dwarfs to red dwarfs to protostars and so much more. They're all actually part of the star's life cycle.
No way! You're saying stars have a life cycle just like us?
They do. And you know what? It's pretty cool too.
I want to know.
Yeah. Now, remember that big mixture of hydrogen, helium, and other materials? Well, that's called a nebula. It's what turns into a star with gravity. It's the first stage in the life cycle. Once gravity starts working, it turns the nebula into a star. But it's a weak star, a protostar. It just started learning to use hydrogen and helium as fuel. Now, after a very, very, very long time...
You mean like a million years?
Even more. The smaller the star, the longer it takes because it has a lot of time to use that gas for fuel.
Whoa.
Anyway, this is where our cycle starts to branch off. It can either turn into a main sequence star or a massive star.
Main sequence star? What's that?
Main sequence stars are stars that weld hydrogen into helium to produce fuel. The smaller the star is, the more fuel it has to work with, so it can live much, much longer. Stars like our Sun, Sirius, Proxima Centauri, and Betelgeuse are all main sequence stars. They're actually the most common type. Over time, these main sequence stars start running out of hydrogen to weld, so they start burning up the helium for fuel. This causes the star to turn into a red giant. Our sun will do this too, and 5 million years later, our sun will turn into a planetary nebula. That's when the helium runs out, and the star turns to the last thing it has, its shell made out of carbon. When the star starts burning that, it collapses, and the outer layers explode, but there's still a core. That's the white dwarf.
Wait, but what if the protostar turns into a massive star?
That's another possible pathway for the life cycle. A massive star is over 8 solar masses, or the mass of the sun. Just like the main sequence star, the massive star starts burning helium, but this time it turns into a red supergiant.
Let me guess. The star collapses and it turns into a nebula.
You're half right. The star does collapse, but instead, it turns into a gigantic explosion called a supernova.
Whoa.
These supernovas can turn into a neutron star or a black hole. Neutron stars are made when the core of a star is compressed into a teensy nucleus, and black holes are made from the remaining pieces of a supernova, and they're a deadly vortex that can suck in light. Even though that's the end of the life cycle, here's a helpful picture from NASA.
But now I'm interested. Tell me more about black holes. What are they?
It's basically an area in space where gravity is so strong it sucks in everything.
But why is it called black?
Because it sucks in light.
Hey, what happened to the lights?
Anyway, black holes also have different types, and they're all really cool. They're stellar, intermediate, and miniature. But there's one that stands out the most. Proved through Einstein's theory of relativity, a supermassive.
Whoa. How big is that?
Supermassive black holes are easily over 1 million solar masses, We have one in our galaxy, Sagittarius A star. It's right at the center, and its gravitational field controls all the stars there. But some people think Sagittarius could be a merger black hole.
Merger? What's that?
It's when two black holes stick together through something called ring down. Their gravity becomes even stronger.
Whoa. How many black holes do you think we have in our galaxy?
Along with Sagittarius A star, the unicorn, and many other ones, scientists think there could be more than 10 million just in the Milky Way. Actually, the first black hole ever found was in the Milky Way too. It's called Cygnus X1 in the constellation Cygnus, or Swan.
Whoa, our galaxy is pretty cool. But what is a galaxy anyways?
Galaxies are usually a big jumble of space dust, gas, stars, and lots of dark matter.
So do they just float around there?
You're right. But that's before they're hit by one of the most powerful forces ever, gravity. Usually, they swirl around each other until gravity starts to pull them closer. Slowly, more and more materials get added to the mix, and over time, it becomes gigantic. It becomes a galaxy.
So like a vacuum cleaner. But space is pretty big. I bet there are a lot of those materials floating around. How many galaxies are there?
You're right about that. Scientists think that there are over 2 trillion galaxies and that each one is unique.
That's a big number. Hold up. Are any of those galaxies close to the Milky Way?
Actually, yeah, our Milky Way is part of the local group where over 50 galaxies and smaller galaxies exist. On top of that, we're part of a supercluster, a large group of galaxies. Ours is the Virgo supercluster.
You mean that tiny speck is a bunch of galaxies?
Yeah,
But if all those galaxies exist, aren't there other planets that orbit stars just like in the solar system?
exactly. Those planets are called exoplanets. They're planets outside the solar system.
Whoa!
NASA's putting a lot of effort into searching for them. So far, they've found 4,383.
But wait, what's so cool about them? Aren't they just other planets?
Exoplanets can live in extreme conditions, like sudden cold, heat, and pressure. The best part, there could be other life on them.
No way! Aliens!
Exoplanets can also help us find out if any other planets are habitable, the nature of planets, and to what lengths a planet can go.
So, what are some exoplanets? Are there any aliens yet?
There are so many exoplanets. There's 51 Pegasus b, the first one found to be orbiting a main sequence star. There's Korat 7b, Osiris, and so many more. For the aliens, not yet, but there are possibilities. Actually, NASA found some possible candidates for us to live on, called the Kepler exoplanets. They're really far away.
Whoa! So we can live on exoplanets too!
With the right conditions. This theory was actually predicted in 1992 by Alexander Wolfson and Dale Frail, the discoverers of the first exoplanets, Poltergeist and Phobator.
The universe is pretty awesome. There are so many things to learn.
Yeah, and we haven't even brushed the tip of it. Scientists are working every day, and their efforts will really help us.
Let's review.
Stars are made from nebulas and have a life cycle. It branches off and can form a black hole. Black holes suck in light, and all planets are fated to meet them. There are many different types, but a major one is Sagittarius A star, a supermassive in our galaxy. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is created from gravity, just like other galaxies. They're usually very big, and there are over 2 trillion. They contain planetary systems. Planetary systems other than our solar system contain planets called exoplanets. These planets live under harsh conditions and could house life.
That's all for today. Thanks for watching.
Remember, the universe is endless and there's so much more to be discovered.